Chuck Todd went on the Mike O'Meara radio show where he discussed the issue of media bias. Let's watch.
I wanted to ask about you hear a lot of people talking about the liberal media and the liberal mainstream media, and I'm curious if when you're doing a show like Meet the Press, I would imagine that is objectivity has to be a pretty important deal, and do you get a lot of that from guests on the right? And I'm just curious whether they say, well, I don't want to do Meet the Press because we know where you guys come from. I watch the show. I don't sense that, so I'm curious whether you get any blowback from political leaders about the point of view of Meet the Press.
Not from because there's no point of view to Meet the Press.
Right, exactly.
So not to the professionals. Now there's like the campaign guys who are working it, right? They're just trying to work the refs, so they may try to lump an Al Sharpton and MSNBC and use that as a way to say, well, you work with folks who are have an agenda, so that must mean you have the sort of guilt by association aspect of trying to get at people. But that is just no different than yelling at we're in college basketball time. It's no different than some coach going, hey, man, you're not calling that foul. Why are you always doing that? Why are Duke getting all the calls?
Right.
That's sort of where this goes. And I have to say, and look, the left is now just as aggressive about this. I mean, I probably get more heat from the left than the right these days because the left gets just as aggressive at trying to work the refs. They think that we in the quote mainstream media overcompensate to the criticism. That's their argument. Of course, the right says we're never there. So it's a shame. I think advocacy journalism is sort of the Fox and what MS at primetime, that those models, that hasn't been healthy for politics.
That's true. Fox News and MSNBC largely suck. I agree. But you know who else sucks? You. Sorry. I mean, would you expect me to say different? His show's pathetic. And it's not all equal suck. Let's be clear about that, too. Fox News is pathetic day in, day out, all day long, all year long, period. I mean, you could count the number of facts that have been said on the air on Fox News on one hand over their entire history. So they're just a joke, and they're a sheer propaganda outlet for the Republican Party, no questions asked. Now, MSNBC, they do suck also, but they do Democratic talking points. Now, that's not the same as liberal talking points, and that's not the same as having a progressive bias. They have a Democratic bias. That means they suck up to the Democratic Party. By and large, for the most part, there are some exceptions. But they do end up saying many more things that are factual. There's no doubt about it. But they're not doing it because they actually believe in the facts first. They're doing it because the Democratic Party just happens to tell the truth more often and give facts more often. But they do still have a Democratic bias, and that sucks, and that's shitty, and that means that by and large they're not doing their job properly. So on the suck-o-meter, Fox is way above MSNBC. But yes, MSNBC does suck too. But I mean, the idea that look at these two crazy extremes here, and there I am, the rational guy in the sane middle. No. This is what I like to call the cult of false centrism. Because what you're doing is you're staking out a position in the middle between truth and lies and going, praise me for telling half lies and half truths. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. And it's so easy and so lazy to say that both extremes are extreme. Gosh golly, and here I am. I'm just trying to be honest in the middle. Gosh, yeah. No, what you do is you do an establishment bias and a neutrality bias. And that's just a different kind of suck. And your suck is, I need to be equally hard on and give equal credit to both Republicans and Democrats. Because I need to appear like I'm above the fray and appear like I'm neutral and I'm centrist. And you conflate that with objectivity, and that's where you end up fucking up, because neutrality is not the same thing as objectivity. Neutrality is always calling it 50-50 no matter what. Objectivity is tell the truth no matter what. And if you tell the truth in American politics, you're going to find out very damn quickly that Republicans are wrong almost 100% of the time. And Democrats are wrong probably 50% of the time. And the reality is always something that's a third option off way further to the left on the political spectrum that you don't want to say because you're going to be attacked as having all different types of biases. And also the fact that this guy, he admitted the other day, I think he had Lewis Black on his show, this is a few weeks back, and somebody else, and they're talking about the media, and he basically said, like, yeah, you got to make sure that you can't go too hard on them, because then they don't want to come on your show. You fucking idiot. You're admitting that you're doing a sucky job. You're admitting it when you say that. You're not supposed to give a shit about that. You're supposed to question them no matter what and be tough on them and get the facts out. Hold their feet to the fire. Instead, you're concerned about who the fuck you're going to book the next week. So when you have on Dick Cheney and you go, patty cakes, bakers, man, bake me a cake as fast as you can. All of America collectively facepalms saying, you're interviewing a guy who still argues torture is okay when that's against the Geneva Conventions, the Nuremberg Tribunal, all international law, and the Constitution. You're sitting next to this guy and you're not gonna crush him on this issue? And don't even just, like, if you ask one question, I'm not gonna applaud you. Well, I'm like, oh, he asked one question about torture and then moved on to something else. Fuck that. You know it's illegal. You know it's immoral. You know it's wrong. You know if Iran or anybody else did it, you'd go to town. So why are you not going to town on Cheney? The idea that, like, oh, these damn liberals are the crazy ones that are more angry at me now. Yeah, we're more angry at you now because we give a fuck about facts. See, when the right wing gets mad at you, what they're arguing for is we want you to do more propaganda and more right-wing indoctrination. That's what we want you. We want you to make up more shit and say dumber shit because it coincides with our ideology. The left isn't asking for anything ideological. We're just asking you give the facts. And it just so happens that oftentimes the facts more line up with what progressives have been saying all along. So I'm so tired of he really thinks he's, like, so above it all. And, like, you know, crazy's on both sides, and here I am, good old Chuck Todd in the middle. If you are in the middle in American politics, that means you're a goofball right-winger. And remember, it's in the middle between the two parties he's talking about. So if you're in the middle between the Republican Party, which is damn near fascist today, and the Democratic Party, which is center-right and pro-corporate, where are you?